So good morning, good afternoon, all of you. So, sir, with the chairman permission, can we start, sir?
Yeah, please do.
Okay, sir. So good afternoon to all of you. As you know, the all aware, today we have assembled at this, the virtual platform to acknowledge and celebrate the contribution of Professor Murty, who is, the superannuating today from his officiating director position, and wish him a happy and healthy retirement life. I hope you would be sharing your own experiences, the working with Professor Murthy. My job here is, the just to moderate, or you can say the manage this, the virtual event. And we will go by in a sequence that is, the placed if you can see the screen. However, as a faculty, let's say if I start in as per my opinion, you know, an institute, that tend to achieve different kind of, the milestone, a new height at different point of time. And you all know, the Professor S.K. Goel created and gave us a very good, you can say the world-class infrastructure. And when I look back Professor Murthy directorship tenure, uh, I would say he could convince the board as well as the funding agency, our funding agency ICSR, to engage a significant number of young and energetic faculty in the institute. As per my understanding, this is his biggest contribution to the institute. We are proud to acknowledge that today we have a good combination of both physical and human infrastructure of this sort that there is hardly any ICSR research institute has. However, still we have to go a long way toward making a visible impact in industrial transformation of the country. Here the role of Professor Nagesh comes. As you all know, he would be joining or taking over as a director tomorrow. So I also take this opportunity to welcome him to take this institute to a further new height. We are exciting to work with him and help him to take this institute forward. So, sir, without wasting, the much time, now I request our honorable chairman, Sri S.K. Misraji, to please take over and convey your wishes and message to Professor Murthy. And we would be following, this is just a question I am just, asking or requesting other members, faculty, staff, colleagues to follow a sequence that is displayed on the screen. Uh, since, as we have received a notice from ICSR Member Secretary Professor V.K. Malhotra and a board member Vishwajit Dhar, that they have to leave by 4:30. So I would request them to share their thought and wishes just after the chairman, sir. So now may I request chairman, sir, to please take over and say your share your.
Thank you. Well, Professor Murty, after a very, very long innings, has decided to say farewell. He and ISID have become more part of, you could say, two sides of the same coin. His association with ISID started even before the institute was formally set up. He was part of the corporate study group at the Indian Institute of Public Administration. I've observed his working for several years, and I found him to be very quiet, soft-spoken, low-key, working behind the scenes without getting any credit. And along with Professor Goel, he has provided stability to the organization. His contribution in developing the campus is well known. And in his own quiet manner, he has been able to create confidence amongst the teaching fraternity, research fraternity, and I'm sure that his successor, Professor Rajesh Kumar, will from time to time draw upon his experience. I wish Professor Murty good health, and I'm sure he'll keep himself fully occupied, and we will also have the benefit of his advice from time to time. Well, Professor Murty, I wish you well and hope that you have many, many years of good health and creative activity. Thank you very much.
Professor V.K. Malhotra, ICSR Member Secretary, to share your thought.
Uh, Thank you and good afternoon to all of you. Shri S.K. Mishra ji, the respected chairperson of the institute, Professor Murty, for whose felicitation we have gathered here today, and Professor Nagesh Kumar, who is just going to take over as the next director of the institute, very distinguished board members and energetic faculty and the staff of the institute. I mean, institutes definitely must develop this culture of having such occasions when one is completing one's active service life, in fact, and may have contributed immensely towards making and upscaling of the institute. Over last more than 4 years, my own uh, personal rapport with Professor Murty has been very, very good. And I intend to place that on record, that there has hardly been any issue when ICSSR and ISIT have been not in agreement with each other. Most of the issues that we have discussed at various platforms of the institute, they have been discussed in the right spirit. If at all there has been or there have been some differences of opinion, they have been resolved very amicably through sharing frank opinions and also trying to resolve the whole matter. On a number of occasions, even in the board meeting, I did share my concern. And as the compeer of this program also said in the beginning, that this institute has to come up as perhaps a guiding force in the industrial development of the country in days to happen. We all know and can appreciate that over last 20-25 years, India's industrial development has not witnessed the kind of growth and the kind of transformation each one of us might have aspired to see. Of course, as the Honorable Chairperson very rightly said, that Professor Murty has been on most of the occasion a very cool, calm, one is sticking to one's own work and doing more and believing in saying less about what he has done. So that is the beauty of a person who has been the leader of the institute in his capacity as director. Personally, also, I have found Professor Murty as a very, very good human being, very honest, gentle, and warm friend. I could recall many of the occasions on which we shared many common interests, and the way he came up to support the very cause of academics and the scholarship. At least I could not find any occasion that we expected something from him personally or from ISIT at the level of the institution also. And ISIT or Professor Murty could not come up to our expectations. So I would differ with the compeer who said that he is retiring. A professor never retires. I could see many faces here itself in the board and the people they have been guiding for. They have been still leading the institute, and they will continue to inspire the younger faculty of the institute even in days to come. So I'm very sure Professor Murty shall continue to be not only associated with ISID, he would continue to be associated with ICSSR, and maybe many more academic engagements that we have in our hands right now or might have in future also. So, of course, on this occasion, I would wish him a very, very healthy and very fruitful post-retirement. I would not say life, still a career, right? Because there have been people who have earned more name and fame even after their retirement. So I'm looking for those opportunities or those potentials from Professor Murty. With these words, I will stop here itself. I'm thankful to the organizers that they gave me time in the beginning itself, because I had placed before them that I have to attend another meeting at 4:30. So I'll be, without saying, leaving at 4:30 itself. So thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So may I now request Professor Vishwajit Dhar, because he indicated that he has to leave early, and then we will move on to other members.
Thank you, Shailendra. I have a health problem at home. My wife is not well, so I made a request to Nagesh, and he very kindly agreed to let me share my thoughts about Mukti right at the beginning. Professor Mukti right at the beginning. Chairman of ISID, Member Secretary of ICSSR, Nagesh, and all my colleagues on the board, and the faculty of ISID. This is indeed a very emotional moment for me, because I go back 36 years of association with Professor Murty. And right from the beginning, when this whole idea of ISID sort of started germinating, there was one person, and I would not unhesitantly would say this, was one person who gave up everything, and he sort of dedicated himself to the sort of building really by brick by brick of this institution. My school, Delhi Public School, the logo of the school says service before self, and this is something that I saw in Professor Murty right from the beginning. The way he sort of put aside his academic career. I used to wonder how a person can actually, in those days, when we were all striving to sort of build our careers, this was a person who was trying to build his career by building this institution. It's quite amazing, actually. And I can't express my gratitude more to him for seeing the reality where, which is ISID today. One great quality of Murty, I have a certain amount of problem calling him Professor Murty, because we've grown up together. Is that he's always been calm in handling difficult situations, and we have seen these difficult situations, sort of facing him many a time, but he has been address the problems. I know that there have been a lot of people who have been extremely unhappy with him. But I think as a head of the institution, and Nagesh will soon realize this, and as he has also seen it in other institutions where he has headed, that as a head of an institution, you can't satisfy everyone. And so there are issues, but the point is that Murty never lost his temper. He's never lost his temper, and he's always, coolly and quietly talked to everyone. Took the chairman into confidence, and tried to solve the problems. I think that's how an institution really grows. I think it's as the important aspect is to provide leadership and try to guide the young people in the right. I think today, the last few years, the kind of progress that ISID has seen is entirely due to his efforts. He's expanded the board. He brought in newer people, brought in and through them brought in newer ideas. And the entire lot of younger faces that we are seeing here, even today, is entirely due to his efforts. The kind of, I know how he really worked hard to get this institution to the place that it is today. I think the biggest I think the reward that we can give to Professor Murty is to start from the base that he has built and take this institution to the place where he intended it to reach, and where many of us actually wanted to reach. And as Professor Malhotra said, that the India's industrial development has not been really of the kind that all of us aspire to really do that kind of thinking. So my humble request to all of you, all the youngsters who are now spending trying to build their careers in ISID, is to really rededicate yourselves to this institution, which Professor Murty, along with Professor Goyal, will always be the person who conceived of this institution and helped it grow. But I would not hesitate to say that it's Professor Murty who knows every brick of this institution. And if you really wish to pay our gratitude to this person, Professor Murty, you must rededicate yourself and take this institution to the place that it deserves to be. I won't speak any longer. It's really an emotional moment for me. But I'm sure that Professor Murty is going to be associated with ISID in days ahead, days and years ahead, and look forward to working with him in future as well. Thank you very much for giving me the time, and really appreciate Nagesh's gesture for allowing me to come before many of the senior board members. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for your kind words. Now I request the other members, board members, those who wish to speak. Maybe we can start with Sardana ji. Sir, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I don't have to add much to what my predecessors have spoken to. I had the opportunity of working with him and watching him for more than many years you expect, because I have been knowing him since his CSG days. And seeing that the way he sacrificed everything, including his career as put by Biswajit, which is something remarkable in institution building. Some people take it that their only aim is to build up the institution so that the people otherwise who are being prepared by the universities, etc., they find a place where they can do certain work, which is not of normal routine research work, which is normally carried out in the university. It's an institution where people can give free play to their independent thinking, which normally is not possible sometimes under the strict norms of the university research and the UGC norms. Here is an opportunity when people can give free play to an independent research, because there is no guided research. Nobody is even being forced to do a particular project in a particular way, and whatever work is being done, that is totally independent of the institutional constraints. So this type of unique experimental approach in India is generally unparalleled. It is not available in many institutions. So I think the philosophy led by this institute, initially by Professor Goel, then meticulously cultivated by Murty, will be carried forward in the right spirit and in the right way, so that the process of institution building, which has generally been completed, is carried forward in resulting in research and outputs on which the policy makers can usefully draw upon. And we should also continue to establish certain works which are away from the routine. And the COVID has given us an opportunity to see that we can start from a clean slate of theoretical binding on which we are usually base our research upon. This is a new opportunity to look at the economics and industrial development processes afresh and anew, that whether the process of development sitting in the silos can be integrated further to see a unified research output where all the disciplines contribute towards the ultimate aim of the total industrial development in the context of new technologies and new challenges of climate change and ecological imbalances which are staring at us. I think these young research workers and those who join this institute later on, they just fructify the visions set by the institution makers, and that will be a true tribute to Professor Murty as well as to Professor Goel on this occasion. Okay, I'll stop here.
Thank you so much, sir. So may I request Monty sir to say a few words?
He's muted.
Please unmute yourself.
Unmute मेरा.
म्यूट कर दिया होगा.
Unmute yourself. Yeah.
Is it all right now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You can hear now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please go ahead,
Thank you
sir.
very much. Mr. Chairman, sir, Professor Murty, Dr. Nagesh, friends. We meet today digitally, of course, in very bleak times, pandemic outside, to bid farewell to Professor Murty, who is formally retiring after a very long and distinguished career with ISIT. Professor Murty, as has been noted, along with Professor Goel and few others, set up this institute, nurtured it, saw it grow, and led it for almost a decade as its director. So it is no mean achievement, actually. When he reflects on the years that he spent with ISIT, he must be feeling very proud. And I felicitate him on this occasion and congratulate him for a job well done. Personally, I have immensely benefited in my association with Professor Murty. He has always been, as has been noted again, he ran the organization in a calm, efficient, with a measure of quiet efficiency, and in a very cooperative and collaborative manner. And that was reflected in my relationship with him also. Whenever I needed his help, he extended it, both in academic matters and non-academic matters. Even once I remember he visited my residence when I was not well and cheered me up. So I thank him personally for all the goodwill, for the cooperation, for the kindness he has shown during my tenure with ISIT. From my perspective, I mean, from age profile, Professor Murty is still a young man. He is hardly 65 plus, and he has many years of fruitful life ahead. I'm sure that he will contribute to research, education, and also freed from the requirements and the of the office, he can have a lot of freedom. Actually, retirement gives a lot of freedom and a sense of freedom, which is quite enjoyable. And I'm sure that he will enjoy it. And with that freedom and his background, he will be able to contribute to research, applied research, and also socially, he will be more time with friends, with his family. And I wish him many, many years of happy, prosperous, constructive life ahead. And I also take this opportunity to welcome Dr. Nagesh, who has as well-known qualities of research and education and leading applied research institutions in the past. And I'm sure that ISID will reach new heights of excellence under his leadership. Will continue good work done by Professor Murty and others. And I thank you very much for your attention. And thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So may I request now Professor Pulin Nayak to say a few words?
Thank you. Let me begin by thanking Chairman Mr. Mishra for organizing this meeting, and we are all here to felicitate Mr. Murty, Dr. Murty. Let me begin also by saying that I've had the good fortune of knowing the elder brother of Professor Murty, who I believe is also attending this webinar. Professor M.N. Murty is his elder brother, and I've had the good fortune of knowing him over long years, and we've also collaborated in doing some research together. When I was at the Delhi School of Economics, and he initially in Hindu College and later in the Institute of Economic Growth. And I have come to know now his younger brother, the person retiring today, Professor Murty, over a very long period, but I did not know him that well at an earlier point in time. But I always knew that he was the anchor person behind the ISID. He was the closest associate of Professor S.K. Goel. And they together started the corporate study group, which was in the IIPA campus. We know that. And when the institution shifted to ISID, to its present place, Dr. Murty was the person who was together working hand in hand with Professor S.K. Goel. Of course, we lost Professor Goel very recently, sad moment for the institute. But coming to Professor Murty, he's the person who has really not only been associated, but in recent years, he has really steered the ISID to the position it has now attained. And in the last 4 to 5 years that I've come to know the director, Professor Murty, at a personal level, well, I can't think of anybody who is more hardworking, more self-effacing, more positive about the work of every person in the institution, to the very last person, and always looking at a very inclusive kind of approach in which everyone becomes a part of the entire research process. So he has been an absolutely first-rate individual. I always used to admire him over the last 4 or 5 years that I've come to know him closely. I've always admired him in terms of his manner of looking at problems and trying to sort out how the problems may be resolved and how we can take a particular matter forward. So moments come when such individuals also have to sort of leave the institution in a formal kind of sense on reaching the retirement age. But of course, I wish him long years of good health and active sort of career ahead, because he's still a person who could be thinking in terms of the kind of problems that the institution is supposed to be dealing with, which is industrial development and industrial transformation. And we should all agree that this is a very important moment in India's development process, where for a variety of reasons we are going through, and of course it has been exacerbated due to the COVID pandemic. We are at a situation where the industrial scene and the general economic development scene in the country has been at a very low ebb, so to speak. And we again have to restart, so to speak. And in that effort, the role of industry becomes absolutely important. Over the last 70 years, we knew that industrial transformation was to be the key for obtaining individuals, laborers from agriculture to come into industry and solve the problem of unemployment, etc. But it has not quite really happened. All the data suggests that unemployment is at a very, very high level today. And a new way of looking at industrial transformation is the need of the hour. Dr. Murty has already created the basis for it, and we have an institution with very many young researchers and many experienced researchers also. And I think much may be expected from this group of people. And let me also take the opportunity of welcoming the new director, Dr. Nagesh Kumar. I happen to know him also over a very, very long period from his research days at the Delhi School of Economics. So we wish the institution all the very best. And of course, we wish Dr. Murty long years of good health and active research and active dealings with this institution also, even as a retired person. And I wish Dr. Nagesh Kumar many years of very active and effective leadership of this institution. So thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. So now may I request Sri C.N. Reddy, sir, if you wish to say. Sir, are you there, sir?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, sir. So unmute yourself, sir, and go ahead.
Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah, so can you please show your video as well, sir?
Hmm?
Your video, sir, is not visible. Yeah, it's okay now, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Good
Yes,
evening,
sir.
everybody. Mishra ji, Mr. Murty, where is he? I'm not able to see him. And Dr. Nagesh Kumar. We have been associated with the Institute for many years and with Murty also from the beginning. The head of the institution is the head. He has to think, he has to coordinate, he has to lead. So these are the qualities that a person has to have to head the institution. And it is not a joke. For so many years, Mr. Murty has taken on his head to run this institution. Though Professor Goyal has always been there as a guiding force, Professor Murty is more like a mother of the institution, whereas Goyal is father. Now, he will not, I don't think he will be not associated with the institution. He will become the grandmother, I think, now, to sit aside and encourage us and various things. So one thing we have to see is, you see the history of this institution will give you an idea where it succeeded, where it failed. The fact was, in the beginning, the institute was in the forefront of many of the issues, and it, as Malhotra said, has been the guiding force. But later on, we concentrated more on building up the infrastructure and all that for nearly 10 years and so. So the emphasis has shifted. But now how to bring it back to the and give the focus. I think the new director will think about it. But only one thing as one can suggest is you have to pick up an issue that is coming up before the country and see what, focus on that and try to guide on that matter. And what is the issue now? Of course, apart from the COVID matter, but COVID gives us a example, because in the last 1 year, the government failed to see what is coming. So similarly, on the economic front, there are issues that are coming up. Unless you foresee that and think about it, guide about it. What is that? That is, we are again leading to the crisis that faced the country in 1991, when we had to go and put our gold deposits into other banks and borrow it. But now the crisis is much more difficult. Earlier, it was a crisis on the trade front, but we are now going to face on the capital front, which is going to be more difficult to solve. So what the institute can do is to foresee what is going to happen, when it's going to happen, and how it can be solved. Unless this kind of issues you pick up, then only you come to the forefront of and become a guiding force. I'm sure Dr. Nagesh Kumar will think about all this and see the institution to grow. I not only thank Dr. Murty for holding an institution for so many years on his head, and I wish him well and wish ourselves well, and Dr. Nagesh Kumar also. Thank you, Mishraji, for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Sir, some of the member, the board member name are not visible on this. If anyone left and who is there in this meeting and wish to share their thought, please unmute yourself and go ahead. Anyone from a board member who left wish to share?
Shima Goyal is there.
Okay. So can we move on to the RAC member? Let's say if Parnab Sen are there, Parnab Sen sir is there. Charan Wadhwa sir, are you there, sir? So then we can move on to, I think, Chalpati Rao sir. Sir, would you like to say something?
Thank you, Chairman, sir. It's an indeed emotional time for me. And also, I think I am also generally overtaken by anger. So these two combined, I may not be able to speak in a coherent manner, but I'll try to do myself to do the best of my ability. And I will be more informal because that is how we started working. And to understand the contribution of Murty, we should really go back to the history. ISID was not something was born out of any official decision. It was purely born out of the thinking of Professor Goyal. And he didn't have any support other than his association with Chandrasekharji particularly. And also, the time was changing. He was more into regulations, monopolies, and multinationals. But by 1990, when the corporate studies group started, already the sort of waves of liberalization was started blowing, after Mrs. Gandhi came back. But Professor Goel never hesitated to criticize. For example, the moment the statement was issued by Charanjit Chanana after 1980, he immediately gave a rejoinder to it. In that situation, you cannot expect any government to support. But yet he struggled. Also, in fact, he needed the people who actually are prepared to believe in his vision and work without looking for tomorrow. Because one was not sure whether you will have your salary in the next month. But for IIBS, in fact, we have to remember all these people. There must be some occasion. I thought this would be one occasion. But for the cooperation of IIPA, all the directors, Chaturvedi ji, Dubashi ji, Juneja ji, many others, they could any day could have said, sorry, you don't have any money in your project, wind it up and leave it. But that was not the case. That is how we could survive. We could also survive because Professor Goel's salary was being paid by IIPA. And Professor Goel never hesitated to spend. He always used to say, "Kharch karo, aayega kahin se paisa." But where from it comes, at least we do not know. But if you are looking for our own perks and or benefits, obviously we will not be staying there. There is something else that was really working. And the group, corporate study group, each one was a pivotal member. And within that, Professor Goel chose Murty to actually carry on the real work of institutional building. And he did it from that day onwards till today. I will come to the later part of it a little later. But, and so many people helped in this way. We didn't have money at any point of time, but Murty was to really go to people, manage what you call change files and get the money. Otherwise, none of us were really exposed to all the difficulties. In some months, he used to be just moving around in the what you call the corridors of North Block. Meeting people in the Ministry of Finance, trying to get the one signature here, moving the file there. If files were not moving on their own, he will carry them to the respective desk and follow it up. So that is one part of the story. After all, ISID, it took from 1986 when it was registered. Even before that, there was no guarantee. But as I mentioned earlier, that desire of the people who worked there was very strong to have an institution. Whether it will materialize or not, one is not sure. That is where I think, Nagesh will remember. We used to buy lottery tickets, and I think one of the largest, what you call, the amount was being given by Nagaland. Every month out of the salary, we used to buy lottery tickets so that that money can be used to build the institute. And I think Nagesh even named the institute Center for Industrial Policy Research or something like that. So that is the, I think, spirit of the institute. Whether it will be carried on beyond a point, I am not sure, particularly going by the last 1 year's experience. And, umpteen number of problems. In fact, I ran away from all those problems. But Murty didn't do that. That is the mettle of the man who carried the burden in spite of problems from within and outside. That is another problem, because some of us actually created, but yet he managed them. And in fact, he was even hospitalized, for heart problem. A stent was put, but afterwards he was working normally. And but for his dedication, this campus would not have come in this manner. And in fact, it may not have even come. The type of troubles he took during the period were, I think, umpteen number of problems. But he managed it. That is why we have got what you call the security of the institute today, which people can look forward to some stability and build on further. And I will not take too much of time, but all this I thought was necessary. Also, for me personally, it will always be a satisfying thing to remember people who helped, apart from the directors of IIPA, who actually sowed the seed or watered the seed sown by Professor Goyal were V.K. Rao, Raj Krishna, Amiya Bagchi. Subsequently, the committee headed by C.H. Hanumantarao ji, which comprised of, apart from others, Y.K. Alak, Vijay Kelkar, Deepak Nair, and because they thought that there is no place where specialized research on industrial policy was taking place. So this is the mandate ISID has to keep it in mind, whoever is working today or tomorrow. And particularly last 1 year has been quite, full of agony for him. I really sympathize with him for putting up unnecessarily. And, the trouble created in not allowing the board to, it's not actually the board actually wanted P.K. Raoji to continue because there must be some continuity in the organization. But P.K. Raoji was so disappointed, he refused to join. And because of which, Murty had to be the director, finance officer, administrative officer, everything. It's not possible for one person to carry on all this and satisfy everyone. And this is where I think he distinguished himself, and every one of us should be thankful to him. Even those who disagree with him should thank him for the service he has rendered for so many years in such difficult times, managing too many contradictions almost on a day-to-day basis. It was next to impossible for ordinary individuals. I think this I should underline for people who never knew or who think that you can just walk in and start working and claim all, start claiming all your benefits. And I can go on because I think it becomes very difficult for me to overcome that anger which started building last year, and it still is hurting me deeply. That's why I have to stop it without saying anything more. But I am, on the other hand, I am happy that Nagesh, a very important member of corporate study group, and whom, as I said earlier, was dreaming of an institution by us, made us to buy those lottery tickets, though it never came up. But today what we have is a culmination of all those thinking, facilitated by people along the way, so many people, and I will put Chandrasekhar ji at the top of all of that, because of which many people joined hands, whether it's Yashwant Sinha ji, Madhu Dandavate ji, and even this land, after all, it's not easy to take a favorable decision for a small institution. That was Markandeya Singh ji. I not only thank them, but I also say my namaskaram to them. And I am very hopeful and confident Nagesh, with his vast international experience, will carry the mantle of the institute, but all more because he knows why the institute was made. I think that is what we look forward to him. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your kind words. Now, may I request Professor Padmini Swaminathan, one of our board members, just now joined, if she wishes to say something.
I actually joined earlier, sir, but I got logged out, and I joined again. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, sir, Professor Nagesh Kumar, faculty members, other board members. Good evening to all of you. Very quickly before I get logged out again because the connectivity is very poor. I want to start by thanking Professor Murty for having brought me onto the board. One has heard and read about ISID for a very long time, but having been brought on the board gave me an opportunity to interact with not only the board members but with also several of the faculty in ISID. And the reason why I'm very grateful to him for having brought me there is also because of my own interest in the field of industry. And so I want to really thank him for that. Secondly, I also want to say that it has been a very professional approach to the manner in which the board meetings and the way the communication has been. At no point of time as a board member have I ever felt that there has been no communication. Everything has been very perfectly organized, and I'm very grateful to him for the manner in which my stay at the institute and my travel and all of that has been taken care of very well, and that also speaks for the very high quality of leadership and administrative skill that Professor Murty actually showed. So I'm really very grateful to him. I'm not at all the board meetings. I have a tendency to ask a lot of questions and to seek a lot of answers, and I've done that at several meetings at ISID. Asked a lot of questions, sought a lot of answers, and very patiently the board. With the chairperson as well as the director, they have been very patient answering all my queries and everything. So I'm extremely grateful to all of this. All of us have to, of course, at some point of time make way for somebody else, and I'm sure Professor Murty is looking forward to his into another career. I would agree with Professor Malhotra, who said nobody retires. So I'm sure Professor Murty is not retiring in the sense of just going going away from academic work. So I'm sure this will give him a lot of time for more academic work and less preoccupation with administrative work. So I want to really wish him the very best for for the next stage of his career. And I also want to take this opportunity to welcome our new director, Professor Nagesh Kumar, to the Institute. Thank you very much, Professor Murty, for this opportunity that you have given me. Thank you all, and I wish the Institute and everybody in the Institute a very, very bright future. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your the good words. Now, can we move on to the visiting faculties? May I request the visiting faculty if someone wishes to say something? If someone is there.
Okay. Shalendra?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead.
Okay, good afternoon, Chairman Sir, Professor Murty, Professor Nagesh Kumar, Professor Malhotra, he's already left with absentia, board members. Farewells are always about two things, reflections and Thanksgiving. They aren't very happy occasions, as Rauji also said, they're emotional. So reflecting on my stay at ISID for the last 4 years or so, I would like to give 100% credit to Professor Murty for making my stay so comfortable. Never seen someone so unassuming, so modest, so helpful, and someone who had a great eye for detail. Since my area is not, I'm still an odd person out. I'm not an economist. My area of studies, media studies. So every time I would pick up something and go and discuss with him, be very modest to say, but that's not my area. But at the end of the discussion, you find some very interesting areas which would come about, which he would discuss with me. And whatever work I have been able to do in terms of two major, roundtables, national conferences, webinars, policy paper, to ICSR researches, fellowship, a lot of credit goes to Professor Murty for a very patient hearing and giving me all the advice I needed. Professor Murty has been associated with ISID, which I know for the last almost 25 years. So his contribution, his loyalty to my mind makes him an important part of the ISID DNA. It's ethos, it's value system that nobody can take away from Professor Murty. Professor Murty, I wish you loads of luck. And as Professor Malhotra said, and you can take my example, I do more research now after retirement. I do more writing now. So we look forward to having a very, very, interesting career. You can take a break and to be with your family and friends, come back from Hyderabad and start afresh. And I believe and I hope that after times are better, this COVID times, and we meet again and give a befitting farewell to Professor Murty over lunch or dinner, which befits the office of the director. With this, I wish you a lot of good luck, Professor Murty, and you will be remembered, you'll be missed by many, I can assure you. Thank you so much for being what you have been, Professor Murty. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. So may I request Professor Atul Sharma ji, if you are there, sir?
I would like to
Yes,
say
sir.
a few words. Mr. Chairman, incoming Director, Professor Nagesh Kumar, Professor Murty, for visiting faculty and young colleagues. From corporate study group in IIPA to a marvelous ISID campus is a long journey. And in this long journey, the three persons who worked, and Professor Goel, Professor Murty, and Professor Chalapati Rao, there are three pillars as it were for the institute. I did not have close association with this institute, and I was never an insider except for the last 3 years or so. But I have been always some way or other associated with this institute from the very beginning. That's why I knew about this institute. I have come to know all these three persons very closely, beginning from IIPA. At the time I was in Ahmedabad, and I used to stay in the IIPA guest house. And evening was the place of Professor Goel, where we had chat for a long time. Subsequently also, when it moved to the Sante in Narendra Niketan, I used to drop by from time to time to have, though I was at ISI, drove her way. Sometimes I used to drop by and had a nice lunch in the place and interacted with Professor Murty, Professor Chalapati Rao, and of course with Professor Goel. During this period, I have noted Professor Murty's 5 important traits. One is that he's a self-effacing person, but contrast is that he's a man of minutest details, self-effacing, but he will work through everything very in a great detailed manner. That's one. Second, he was non-interfering. He does not interfere in any of the academic activities, and he does not interfere in anybody has taken a project that he will encourage. He was a supportive person. And third characteristic, he's always positive. I have never seen in the last 3 years I was associated with the institute. But 3 years, actually 4 years. 4 years is one is a silent year or lost year. But he's a very positive minded. Everything you talked about, he said it can be done. We can. This is another characteristic I see. And the other characteristic I see that he is capable of tackling the most complex problem in a very simple way. I don't know how he manages, but he tackled the complex problem in a very simple way to everybody's satisfaction. I have noticed a number of occasions when situations are complex, but he'll deal with it in a way that everybody is satisfied. These are the 5 characteristics, traits of his I have noted.
And I have noted that I have been observing from outside, even though Professor, after Professor Goel, several directors came, but Professor Murty was the person who was behind each of the directors. He was the man who was really doing all the nitty-gritty things of the institute. He has laid in some way the transparent transparent and solid basis of this institution, as a result of which even ICSR has recognized that this is the ISI is the best managed institutes among all 25 ICSR institutes. And I will give 3 or 4 outstanding credits to Professor Murty. Number 1 is, of course, every brick, every mortar, every tree and plant, every person knows Murty. This campus, when I joined the institute as a faculty member, I was trying to find some fault with the institute. There must be something wrong with this institute. It can be so perfect. Everything is taken care of by this institute. But unfortunately, in 3 years, I couldn't find any fault. Everything is well thought out. Here, there's a Professor Murty has a contribution. There's one major contribution. There's a beautiful campus. I think it's the best campus I have seen. I saw almost all the ICSR institutions in one capacity or the other, but this is the best campus I have seen. Second major contribution that Professor Murty has made is to be at the last 3 years ago. 3 years ago, precisely, he has been able to bring, say, at the same time, 7 or 8 young, motivated, bright scholars, and that is a contribution. And I'm sure, and ISID, these are the people, he has facilitated an environment for academic works. And he has also brought all these young, motivated, capable people. And I'm sure the ISID will go a long way. And third contribution he has made, that when he is leaving, when at the end of his long innings, he's handing over it to another very capable person. And he's, of course, he is both insider and outsider, but very competent against Professor Nagesh. So he has been able to guide the board to identify a right person for taking over the institute. And these are 3 major contributions. There are many contributions, but I thought in a short period of time, I would list these 3 contributions, major contributions, which has made to the institute. And it has come to an era has come to an end with Professor Murty's leaving formal departure. But I always think, and I place before the consideration of the chairman and incoming director, that Professor Murty, it is the formal ending of his association, but it will be a good idea to keep him always in some capacity or other for the institute, and he will always make very positive contributions. And finally, I would wish Professor Murty. I also retired from ISI. I was also given a farewell, but unfortunately, my farewell was given in many different places. So I ended with ISI, began at 3-4 different careers. Then 3 different farewell were also given. So I think it is the end of an era and the beginning of another new era. And I wish you all the best. Wish you very good health. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your kind wishes and words. So,
yes, Shailendra?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You go ahead, sir. But if you want to adjust your camera, you can do that.
Yes, I have done it already.
Okay, okay. You go ahead, sir.
Mr. Chairman, Professor Murty, and organizers, I am happy to associate it with this farewell function. My association with Dr. Murty is almost about 2 decades. And of course, the Murty has served the ISID for more than 3 decades. My association is only about 2 decades. And during those 2 decades, what I have observed him is that he's one of the hard-working person, a very, very good administrator in the sense for eye for details and for understanding the issues and reacting to it. And on the academic matter also, he is able to guide people and he was able to give the suggestion, and he has done extremely well according to me. And many times that I have seen him talking to the youngsters and guiding them what has to be done and how it has to go, and also in preparing the research project proposals, what should be the main ingredients and all that. He has been not only a guide but also a philosopher. To me, at a personal level, he has been a friend. And also, since I am an elder to him in age, he always used to call me, "You are my elder brother." But I took him always, he is elder to me as far as the experience and other things are concerned. So that I always used to respect him. And he is one of the very closest friend of mine in the ISIT. And the amount of work that he has put in bringing the institute is only very few people might be knowing today. I have seen him working almost day and night, and sometimes at the ISID campus, sometimes at Narendra Niketan, both. I have seen him, how hard that he worked. Apart from that, his association with the ICSSR and other organizations is also extremely useful and extremely beautiful that he has used to conduct himself. I think you are looking at a time. I'm not going to talk too much. Other than that, Murty has an extremely a good human qualities, and he is a human at heart, and he is concerned about his colleagues and the welfare. More than that, I wish Murty all the success in the post-retirement age, and also that he should be associated with the institute at least some more time, that I wish, so that he can be able to give the best. And of course, the incoming director, Nagesh Kumar, is a well-known researcher, and he has a great reputation as a scholar. And I have no doubt in my mind that he will be able to take the institution further good height. And I wish Murty all the best, and also Nagesh success after success. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So may I request Professor Ramachandran, sir? Sir, are you there? If you wish to say something. Ramachandran, sir, are you there, sir?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Am
Yes.
I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You go ahead, sir.
I had made some points to speak in this meeting. And I found that every word by word has been said by other people before. That Professor Murty knows every brick in this campus. He's very sincere, hardworking, etc. I'm only rephrasing some of this as I felt. I have also known him for about 20 years off and on from his old campus, both him and all the directors, Professor Goel, Professor Hashim, Professor Popola, and so on, and Murty. When I came to this campus about 7 years ago, 6-7 years ago, as a national fellow, I was very welcoming. One thing which I found was it is very easy to interact with him. No hassle, you be yourself, he is being himself. You don't have to put on any airs to meet him. This is one which is very, second way it struck me is an institute which has no problems. He will never say there is a problem in the institute. You just attend to it. Not no ado at all. So in fact, I was wondering, although it's not not a very large institute, but even few people are sufficient to create some problem or the other. I'm not saying that people are doing it. The fact that few people should come together in academic value, academic venue, it is possible, but everybody doesn't agree with everything. But he had a quality of managing all these issues without letting anybody know that there is a problem at all. Always smiling, very simple to do. The I recall sometimes, not that he will advise you, because he always felt the age difference, whatever it, even if it is 1 year, for senior is senior. That was his attitude. But the same thing is not true for the younger one. He will still consider younger people's view, talk to them as quietly as possible, and share his ideas without the having dealt with a number of other institutions, having headed few institutions. I found, I don't know whether many of the young people realize this, that the amount of flexibility and freedom which the faculty enjoys here, I have not seen such flexibility freedom in any other institution. And they should appreciate this and agree that they are not being herded into particular ideas, either academically or otherwise. There's tremendous amount of freedom. Looking at the clock, I know that a lot more to say. I have known Mr. Murty and also his brother in the IEG when he was there. He used to run a program for the Indian Economic Service people. And as a part of that, he used to come to the academy at Missouri. And I have interacted with him there also. And subsequently, I've been on some selection committees and so on and so forth. And at one time, I think I saw Murty and his brother together in the campus. I don't know on what occasion. And I sort of mistook them because they look from a distance alike. The mannerisms also similar. I also take this opportunity to welcome the new director, Nagesh Kumar, which I learned today from Ulin Nayak, that he was also a product of Delhi School of Economics, from where we studied. I have not really met him before, and I do welcome here. I wish Professor Murty a good, healthy life, and hopefully he is as carefree as he used to be as a part of the director. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you, sir. So can we move to the faculties now? The Simaji, if you are there, to say.
Yes, am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Chairman Ji, Mishra Ji, all respected board members, Nagesh Ji. I don't know really where to start. My association with Murty Ji goes way back when I was still at school. And I would come with my Telugu paper to be solved by Murty Ji. And, I always had this understanding from SKG that there were the three musketeers or the three pillars of strength, Murty Ji, Rangaji and Raoji, who were always there from day one. Murty Ji, I don't see how these people can ever not be a part of ISID. So this may be a formal farewell, but you will always continue to be a part of ISID and will contribute your bit till the very last. I'm very sure of that. And as a colleague, I have been with Murty Ji for the past 20 years now at ISID as faculty. And I can tell you the kind of freedom he has given to the faculty during his time as director for experimenting in, trying to bring in new ideas, trying to start new programs. It's just amazing how he has always given that freedom to the faculty. And as for knowing the institute, nobody knows it better than Murty Ji. From the breaks to the finances, to the administration, to anything and everything. I think Murty Ji you are part of every little bit of this institute, and you will continue to be that, I hope, and guide everyone who is there today even. All I can say is, Murty ji, we will miss you terribly. Personally, you have been my go-to person. Any problems, anything I've had, I've not hesitated to come to you, share with you. You know, there were times when I could not go to SKG, but I have come to you, and you have always lent me a shoulder even to cry on when I've had to, needed that. So thank you, Murty ji, for being so supportive, and we will miss you at the Institute, but I'm sure you will be here anytime and every time we need. And I think nobody can ever, you know, even put a number to the kind of contribution you have done to building this institute. It has been just immense. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. So may I request Satyaki sir to please share your words.
Chairman sir, Professor Murty, Professor Nagesh Kumar, and also our distinguished board members and professors. Of course, this is not a very pleasant occasion when someone at least formally retires after a service of about 3.5 decades was associated with this institute. And I believe that Professor Murty is the last person in the league of Professor Goel, Professor Chalapati Rao, Professor Ranganathan, who continued with ISID from its very inception. So we all appreciate and acknowledge their contribution for what ISID is today. And particularly as it has been mentioned by most of the faculties and also senior visiting faculties, that what we enjoyed, apart from some differences, some debates sometimes happen, but what we all enjoyed at ISID is the intellectual freedom and academic autonomy that was maintained throughout. So that was the major ethos of ISID, which was protected and secured under Professor Murty's guidance as well. I am working here for about 14 years, and but in the first 2 years when Professor Hashim was the director, the rest of the time was Professor Murty, who was the director at this institute. So in different occasions, on different issues, we had exchanges, we had interactions. Most of them were, I believe you would agree, were pleasant. Few maybe not so pleasant, but we all remember the fond memories, good memories, because that gives us motivation to move forward and also to maintain the personal relationship with all the faculties, which is much, much larger and much beyond the professional exchanges. And we realize that particularly in difficult times, that how we all need, all of us, each other. So I would say that that is one of the thing I wanted to mention. But at the same time, I would say that from tomorrow, the new director, Professor Nagesh Kumar, would be taking over. And so all those who left ISID, who are leaving ISID, and those who will be continuing with ISID, we all have hope. And we believe that in the coming years, we would be proud of our institute at a way it will emerge in the coming years. So I thank Professor Murty and wish you all the best and good health, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. Now, since Reggie has COVID, so he would not be able to speak. So can we move to Anjali, and then individual faculty may go on speaking, let's say if you want. Anjali, are you there?
Yes, I'm there. I'm there. Thank you so much. Respected chairperson, respected chairman, members of the board, Professor Nagesh Kumar, Murty sir, senior faculty, visiting faculty members, my faculty colleagues, and members of the staff, a very good evening. Amongst all my seniors who've spoken so far, I have the smallest interaction with Murty sir. My term with Murty sir dates exactly 3 years. I joined on May 1. So it's exactly 3 years of my interaction with Murty sir. But these 3 years have been eventful on many accounts. And if I look back into my memories, I have thoughtfully recalled two specific instances, which I would like to place before you to share how these instances had a lasting impact about what I started thinking about Murty sir as a director of the institute. So the first one was very early. As soon as I joined, I had an interactive meeting with Murty ji, and where Professor Murty happened to share his views about faculty at the institute. He was of the view that if the faculty at the institute is facilitated and encouraged, that's the way the faculty would contribute even more to the institute. So he always thought that if the faculty outshines, so does the institute. And I was deeply impressed with his views and his philosophy on that. The second instance that I'm sharing came a little later with time, where I had to place a call to him on his mobile at odd hours. That was very early in the morning. I was at the visa office and I had a visa issue for which I had to speak to my director for a facilitation. He was just a call away. I called him and he picked up, and I expressed the situation, and he on the phone, he said, he was very supportive, and he said, you take this action, you act in this way. And once you reach office, you just put a mail down to me so that it goes on record. So he was very quick in taking decisions, very prompt in communicating and understanding the situation. He would never blow it apart, as I'm trying to share with these things. But what is also important, a takeaway from here, is that he gave direct access to faculty. So one could just walk into his office anytime. So there was no third person, no intermediary, no appointments, no expression, no filtering of information that had to be, undertaken. So I think that was a very wonderful approach. We could just talk to him, not that he would always agree or he would be able to give an equal length of time, but he was available directly. So there was no manipulation most of the times when the faculty had to approach him. So that was very wonderful of him. And I'm very thankful to him. So the access to the director is what I'm trying to underscore. That was very helpful, sir, all through the period. Even he was very appreciative of any success that a faculty would gain while interacting with ICSR Institute as a key body for the institute. He was always very encouraging, very pushing, and also he was facilitating there also. An unusual thing that I would like to share about Murty sir has been that he's increasingly giving greater amount of time that has been spent at the institute for the institute in the last 1 year. So during the pandemic, when even younger faculty like us chose to sit at home and work from home, I think his approach was completely different. So which should be well appreciated and is an expression of the passion and commitment to work that he always carried with him. With Murty sir, I think I understand, because I've been a relatively new faculty member. He is the last formal research faculty member who worked on the corporate studies group. So if that chapter comes to close, it is very inspiring for us to learn from him and from other members of the CSG group, so that we at the institute can carve out a longer plan, research plan, which the institute can work upon in the next coming years in a very directed manner. Another thing that I must share with my colleagues, as a convener of the Internal Complaints Committee, I can place on record that the sensitivity which Murty ji had towards the safety and concerns of female colleagues at the office. He was always very responsive and very concerned about the safety and any concerns, although there were none, but he was very conscious about the safety of women on the campus. With this, I'm not aware if Murty sir's family is connected in this meeting, but I would surely take a moment to thank Mani ma'am, his family, and his newly arrived grandchild for the space that they gave him so that he could contribute at ISIT in such a dedicated manner. So please do convey our regards to your family. And I wish we were meeting in person, shaking hands with you, taking your blessings at this moment, but timings do not permit. So please excuse us for the occasion. And same is the occasion for us when we are welcoming our new director, Professor Nagesh Kumar. I wish we could personally welcome him through a welcome meeting, but again, the timings do not allow. But for Professor Nagesh Kumar, it is very interesting that life has come to a full circle. He is heading an institute where he started his research career. So, sir, I extend a very warm and pleasant welcome to you at the institute. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Anjali. So may I request now the other faculty if they wish to say something. You unmute yourself and then go ahead.
Can I say something?
Yeah, Rama. Yeah, Rama. Yes, Rama. Please go ahead.
Okay. Good evening to everyone, Chairman, the Board of Directors, our guest of honor, Professor Murty, and my very able faculty colleagues. I don't, I feel that it's, just a change on paper, but I think the association with Professor Murty will be there for us. And the picture or the scene that he has, drawn for us to follow, and the qualities and the fundamental traits that he has displayed in his career should be imbibed as individuals, as researchers, and as human beings also. I think, there are so many adjectives that have been, used here. I would just say one thing that has been missed, that he has an excellent memory. And that was, that's when I got to know that the sense of the degree of involvement of his in this institute. When in last year 2020 there was a international land and development conference, and we had just met some lady in passing who had retired from the ministry, and she was the one that who had signed on the the permission granted on granting the land. And that's where Professor Murty met her, and he reminded her that she was the one who had signed, and that must be in 1980s. So that displayed how involved he was. That displayed the the memory that he has borne in mind. And someone, I think Professor Dhar had mentioned this, that every brick of this institute owes everything to him. So I wish to just pay my regards, my gratitude to him. And I think a lot of things have been said, and no more words can fill the contribution that he has made. And last 3 years of knowing him has been really enhancing in terms of academics, in terms of conducting oneself in particularly difficult situations, and being the person he is in all the times, in all situations. That's something we have to learn. So thank you, Professor Murty, and everyone here for having this meeting at this difficult point of time. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Rama. So before going ahead, sir, just I want to read, Reggie has just asked me to read his, the message. So he has written a very long message in this, so that I will forward to Professor Murty. More or less it has been said, but in the last few lines, he has indicated his very, the interesting thing that I thought I should read it. So in the last line, he said that I am sure that the contribution of Professor Murty in laying a strong foundation for the growth of the institute would be marked in golden letters on the wall of ISID. I wish him all the best for all his future endeavors. Thank you, Reggie, for your kind words. And I think now we can move on to the another faculty if they wish to say something. Somebody else wish to say something or yes?
Can I say? Can I say?
Yeah,
something?
yeah, yeah.
Am I audible? I'm audible now.
Yes, yes. Go ahead.
Okay. Very good evening to all. So on this particular eve, I would like to wish Professor Murty a very fulfilling, harmonious, and very peaceful retirement phase. I would like to thank so especially for being so encouraging and supportive to rather younger researcher, a fresh PhD student from JNU like me, who has just joined ISID as my first employer organization in 2014, with just a letter from my uh, PhD guide who told me, okay, go and meet Professor Murty. He's a thorough gentleman. I'm sure he will guide you in the best ways possible. So definitely in these years, no matter whatever type of issue or problem I approached Sir with for help or direction or guidance, academic or otherwise, I always found a very helping person and a rather well-wisher behind the director's desk. And he has been one of the key seniors who made all these initial years of research and on-job learning a very memorable experience for me. So in the end, so I'd just like to say thank you for everything, sir. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Swati. Someone else, if wish to say.
Can I say?
Yeah, Mithali. Please go ahead.
Okay. So, okay. Yes, Chairman, sir, all the board members, and to the outgoing director, our guest of honor, Professor Murty, to the incoming director, Nagesh sir, and all the senior faculty colleagues. On this day, I would like of his superannuating of his entire career. I would like to thank Murty sir for all the support that he had given to me in this institute. And I would like to wish him and his family, of course, in this Corona times. Sir, may you be blessed with lots of love, happiness, good health. Stay safe in the Corona period. With lots of success, of course, in your second innings, in your retirement innings, as everybody has said, post-retirement career with abundance and prosperity. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mithali. Another faculty, if they wish to say something.
Shalinder?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Maua.
Yeah.
If you want to show your video, you can just,
There is some problem in the connectivity.
Okay. You go ahead.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
So, respected director sir, outgoing director sir, Murty sir, and my colleagues, it's a very emotional day for me because this long 15 years I'm here, and the day I joined, I was always with Murty sir. He was joint director, and when I joined this institute, it is 15 years now. When I came from IEG, I did not feel any lonely atmosphere here. Dr. Murty made me so friendly with everybody. So this was the very difficult for me to think of if from next month onwards, Director Sir will not be Murty Sir and Nagesh Sir. We always welcome you, and we want the same cooperation what Murty Sir had shown to us. As at my personal level also, he was very caring, and he always used to make me feel very supportive, very kind.
Maua, we are not able to hear you properly. Can you hear? to hear her.
Yes. Hello. Well, we are not able to hear you properly, so I would request by the time the other faculty to speak. Hello.
Hello. Anyone else wish to say something, or should we move on to staff?
Good afternoon.
Yeah, Vina.
Hello.
Vina, please go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. First time I met Murty sir in, I think it is in 2008, and I already organized a conference, corporate sector conference. So after that, formally after joining institute also, there were many Murty sir's administrative qualities became evident. So one occasion I want to highlight that was a IEA conference. There were a lot of apprehensions on the conference in ISID. Here. That time, all of us went and discussed with Murty what to do and some issues hosting the event, and it was just 1 or 2 days before, I think. So then it was like but I was wondering at Murty sir's memory and the way he handled the situation, and sir was like giving all the details on even the history of how it was formed and everything. Sir was giving, including the dates. Actually, I was really wondering the memory, and through that intervention, actually, he could convince all the faculties within few minutes, and after that that event became a big success, and so that was the administrative capability of Murty sir. So that is the thing I want to point out. And personally also, I have methodology course when we organize, and many programs also. But I may be the lowest number of times, but still, when I met, I got good. I wish that kind of a support will continue, and that kind of a skill I study will use in future also. And I wish Murty sir good, very healthy and prosperous that at the current times. So, and also I am Nagesh.
Thank you, Bina. Actually, we are not able to hear you properly because of your bandwidth problem. So, can we move on to another faculty? Yes. Can I request the other faculty members to say a few words? Other faculty member, if they wish to do something.
Hello. Hello.
So can I now ask the from the staff member if they wish to say something? Maybe I can. Huh? So, इसके बाद इसके बाद
No.
I request Professor
Calendar.
Murty's brother, please hold on for a while.
Yes.
Please hold on for a while. Just we will move on, and then we will ask you to we will give you a chance to speak, sir. So we request
Thank you.
Okay. May I request from somebody from staff to speak, please, if faculty member are not. Yadav ji, do you like to say something?
Hello.
Yes, yes.
Respected Chairman, Murty, Murty साहब के साथ मेरी एसोसिएशन करीबन 3 साल पुरानी है और मूर्ति साहब के साथ हेलो मैंने 1990 में इंस्टीट्यूट को ज्वाइन किया था। मैं तब से मूर्ति सर को जानता हूँ और उनके साथ काम करते हुए लगभग 30 साल हो गए। मूर्ति साहब का जो एकेडमिक
I don't think we can hear Yash ji.
we have not been able to hear yesterday.
Sorry for this. Yadav ji, please tell me.
मूर्ति जी के साथ काम करते हुए
हमने बहुत कुछ सीखा है। बिकॉज शुरू से उनके साथ जो है रहा हूँ, बहुत कुछ उन्होंने सिखाया है। एक गाइड की तरह हमें गाइड किया है। उनका कंट्रीब्यूशन जो आईएसआईडी के लिए रहा है अलग ही है, उसके लिए कुछ कहना एक अतिशयोक्ति होगी, क्योंकि जो भी काम उन्होंने किया उसको शायद कोई भी जो है वो अप्रिशिएट करेगा। उन्होंने बहुत से प्रशासनिक कार्य में हमको सिखाया और ये बताया कि किस काम को क्या करना है, कैसे करना है। एक मेंटर की तरह से उन्होंने हम लोगों को गाइड किया है और समय समय पर डांटा भी है। ऑफ कोर्स वो भी एक जरूरी है, जहाँ सुधार की जरूरत हो वहाँ सुधार भी किया है। और एक चीज मैंने उनसे बहुत अच्छी सीखी जो उन्होंने मुझे बहुत बार कही और वो मैं हमेशा याद रखूंगा कि एक स्टेप लेने से पहले पीछे 2 स्टेप के बारे में सोचो कि आप जो एक स्टेप ले रहे हो उसके पीछे 2 स्टेप में क्या माइनस हो सकता है, क्या हो सकता है, उसके हिसाब से डिसीजन लो। तो उन्होंने जो सिखाया हम उनको विश्वास है कि हम उनके बताए हुए आइडियोलॉजी पे चलेंगे और इंस्टीट्यूट को आगे की तरफ ले जाने की अपनी पूरी कोशिश करेंगे। सर जो आपने सिखाया कोई नहीं कर पाएगा, आगे उसको चलाना हमारा चैलेंज है और जिस तरह से भी होगा हम उसको अपने कर्तव्यों का पूरा पालन करेंगे। जिस कर्तव्य निष्ठा से, जिस कर्म योगी की तरह आपने कार्य किया है हम उसको एक लाइट मान के उसको फॉलो करेंगे। यही मेरा कहना है। मेरी तरफ से बहुत बहुत भगवान से प्रार्थना करते हैं कि आप स्वस्थ रहें, लंबी आयु हो और परिवार में सुख शांति रहे। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Thank you, Yadav ji. Now may I request ji.
Hello.
Yes, ji. Go ahead.
Hello. Respected Chairman sir and Nagesh sir and Murty sir and board members, and staff members, मेरा नमस्कार। तथा हमेशा उनको मेरा रिलेशन टीचर एंड स्टूडेंट की तरह रहा है। मैंने उनसे हार्ड वर्किंग सीखे, उनसे इंजॉयफुल हैप्पी। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, Ji. If no one is there, then we will move to our, the felicitation program. If someone is there to say something. Okay. So now I request.
Sadhana.
So now on behalf of the institute, faculty and staff, I request Yadav ji to please felicitate the momentum.
Shailendra, I think Professor M.N. Murty had something to say.
Yeah, we will give chance.
Okay.
So now I request Ajit ji to hand over the bouquet to Murty. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Another.
So on behalf of faculty and staff, I am also
giving one bouquet to sir.
So now we are moving to our last session. So first of all, I would request Professor Murty to say a few words, and then their family member can share some thoughts. And thereafter, I would request Professor Nagesh Kumar would be joining as the formal
Excuse me.
of the institute would speak at the end of it. So,
can I say something?
Murty, sir.
Please go ahead.
Hello.
Thank you very much, Shailendra. Professor, the chairperson of the institute, Sri H.K. Mishra ji, other distinguished board members, and some of our senior colleagues, Mr. Atul Sharma ji, Mr. Ramchandran, and distinguished colleagues, faculty colleagues, and staff colleagues. And it is indeed a great privilege for me to work with this institute and his precursor, Corporate Studies Group, for about 4 decades. In fact, many of our seniors, senior board members, and some of our senior visiting faculty and our faculty colleagues particularly have stated what has been the trajectory of ISID. ISID, before it came into existence in October '86, we had already a first phase. We had basically 3 phases of ISID we have experienced so far. The first phase where we have put up all the work that has been done during the period early 70s and 80s by Professor Goel on industrial regulation. We have put together and showcased it before the Indian Council of Social Science Research. And that time, I think G. Parthasarathi was the chairperson of the ICSSR, and Madan and Professor Narula were the member secretaries. And we could able to get a project called Regulatory Administration of Private Corporate Sector. That was the main emphasis was on industrial regulations and regulation of monopolies and multinationals. Having done that, then we just started with the second phase. The work done under that program was recognized by the ICSSR by a committee under the chairmanship of Hanumanta Raoji. They recommended that it should become a major policy research organization on industry and regulations. Then, having done that, we incorporated a new society called Institute for Studies in Industrial Development, and it was brought into the MHRD framework, Ministry of Education framework, in 1988 with a token grant of 1 lakh as a beginning, saying that ISID was recognized as an institute under the ICSSR and it will receive a token grant of 1 lakh in 88. Then with a condition that ISID should mobilize an equivalent amount of money from central ministries or from corpus, its own corpus, create a own corpus, or from the state agencies. And within 3 years of recognition, ISID, the new institute, should relocate itself from Delhi out either in UP or in Haryana, anywhere, but it should be outside the Delhi. And Delhi, there are already 4 institutions under ICSSR heavily concentrated. There's no scope for the ministry to permit any more new institutions from Delhi. So we accepted those conditions. Then our problem started it. Then ICSSR grant has been, went on enhancing it, and we came to something like 10-15 lakhs over a period of next 3 years. Then the problem of relocating the institute came up. Then we were asked to move out of Delhi. That time the council had appointed a committee under Krishna Bharadwaj, the then professor at Jawaharlal Nehru University, and Atul Sharma were the members of the committee. The committee recommended that the nature of the work of this institute demands it should be continue to be located in Delhi. So they have recommended it to the council. The council refused it, and then it went to Ministry of Education, and then they reversed that decision, and finally they permitted it. From then, we'll have to mobilize the matching grants, either through endowment or none. And Yashwant Sinha gave 1 crore as a amount. Out of that, 42 lakhs was paid towards the cost of the land. Remaining money was kept. ICSSR was kind enough to give another 75 lakhs only for this entire project. Then that time, Yashwant Sinha happened to be on the board. Abid Saab was the chairperson of the construction committee. And we took certain decisions. We'll go ahead with 1 block where our activities are located. it. Then whom to give. S1G Abid did not, and we have a tuner about pull together. We could take up that project in a gigantic manner in a time, and in this report that we have from Chandrasekhar ji, any problem that I was going around economic ministries, exploring the possible, and also the grant that we can get from Planning Commission. Abid Saab used to be with their help, and almost every way. That is why we were going with a begging bowl to have a matching contribution from the ICSSR grant. That was the phase, and then construction began, and we have taken about 32 crores of loan, and that phase and the entire phasing out, mobilizing loan, have timely, I mean, touch wood, if you believe it, the day when the Muhurt, the foundation stone, ever since that day, we have not experienced even a single problem of even mobilizing money and getting the clearance is done. Abid Saab happened to be the chairman of the Urban Arts Commission, and he just relinquished when our proposal of the building plan went to JP Singh, who was his successor, and he plans in just one sitting. And that is the kind of support that we had. And we had a great opportunity of working with the previous 4-5 chairmen. Of course, Munis Rajaji, I didn't deal with him very closely. And with Chandrasekhar ji and with Arjun Sengupta, of course, with Abid Saab and Chaturvedi ji, and I think with SK Mishra ji, it is a great opportunity. I have worked with it. Now, consolidation phase has been by and large completed. Now we have a challenge. Professor Goel always used to feel, we used to do the studies which used to capture the headlines of the newspapers and academic ways, like EPW used to bring out a series of ISID's reports. For example, the small scale report brought out by Business Standard in 12 major center page articles, and industrial licensing report was brought out by EPW in three series. That is the occasion. Why is it not happening? During the phase of consolidation, building up this, we distanced ourselves from the mainstream of academics. The entire focus was on the concentration of building up this campus. That made the situation different. Now you look at why still we can do it. The issues are the same, but the issues are the same with the new dimensions and the new focus. Issues remain the same. And I used to tell him, where is the quality of the parliamentarian which you used to have during the 70s and 80s, when you bring out a research report which used to be debated? The quality of parliamentarians has come down. Even the press also has on a tremendous change. There is no this thing unless you just anything contrary to the government or the contrary to the existing policies, even reactions, and which is not so easy. And moreover, we distanced ourselves from the mainstream of academics during this. Now we have to consolidate. Now we have Popola joined as a director. He did a modest attempt of expanding faculty. We did so. I think during that phase that Satyaki, Kesab Das, few others have joined. Again, we could not retain them for except Satyaki, and all others during that period have joined, have left. Then Professor Ashim, 3 years term as this thing, no major expansion took place in terms of faculty. We tried to consolidate it. But I think the real expansion of the faculty started after 2010, where in the major batch of youngsters. And I think the last 18 recruitment, we had 10 new recruitments. And in 14, we had about 7 recruitment, 7 faculty members have joined, out of 3 have left and intellectual environment. I didn't do much. I had given freedom. Earlier, freedom of the researchers being encroached by some senior. And then what I thought was the academics, the new young academics are the middle level, should be freedom. And around that program. That is what I did. And I think for that, I got an immense support from the ICSSR. And I must always say ICSSR and ISID worked in tandem, whether it is from the corporate studies group or after shifting here, because ICSSR was located in IIPA hostel when we were in the corporate studies group. Much of these directors now were earlier researchers assistants in ICSSR. We have a close this thing, and we always come major way for restricting or restraining, and some Malhotra took power. I must acknowledge, without his support, so I must tell you that this could not have been possible. They have the problem, them in a different way. In any academics, it is very difficult to bring all academics on one line of thinking. Some may be having a large number of 22 regular faculty and 8 senior faculty, and putting together, having meetings, sometimes, I mean, agreeing and sometimes disagreeing, but at the same time, at the end, they were given a freedom in terms of the research agenda, focused research agenda. Then output also has been quite substantial during the last 4 or 5 years. For that, I think both from the Research Advisory Committee and both from the governing board, particularly Chaturvediji's time, and then now Mishra Saab's time, and I have the great support from them, and why is it not happening in other institutions and so transfer, whether it is recruitment, whether it is presenting the facts relating to finance and administrative issues. This is the one institution where information is given so, I mean, explanatory, those are self-speaking. That is the confidence that we have built up. And I think ICSSR has never been a constant, rather a supporting thing. I must acknowledge that. And which projects were given by the ICSSR to this. All the young faculty have one program or one project or other, and we kept them engaged in this one. That is the kind of support that we have. We must acknowledge that ICSSR support, both in terms of the grant and both in terms of the research support. I think now after having this, there's the fourth phase of the ISID, wherein I'm very happy to place it before you, Chairman Sir, and Professor Naik and other distinguished board members. I'm very happy that Professor Nagesh Kumar had agreed to take over the responsibility. This is the phase where this gap and take it. That is what the ICSSR is also aspiring to be, wishing the new director to do that. There is a lot of scope. You have now young talented. They are to be molded, encouraged and motivated to do the studies relating to our main area of the agenda. Now with these things, I'm so happy. I'm relinquishing with thing, but I have a great memories of working with particularly Chandrasekhar ji, Abid Saab so much. You know that I still remember Abid Saab had signed the appointments, minutes of the appointments during 2012 or 14. And I got it signed the same day he left for UK. And within 3 days, he was no more. And that is the support that, Bete, you do that. Avoid Cold War within the organization, manage so much so that to avoid the Cold War, you and me are there to avoid Cold War within the organization. Sometimes you have a confrontation with the founders, but you must have this. This is the word that he had told me, and he is always being remembered. And his successor Chaturvedi Sahib has so much. He had seen us working at IIPA in 1979. He was the director when we all started at IIPA. And so now I think Mishraji, and he has been so supportive. Sir, I wish to place on record and the support that you have provided me in terms of any initiations. I'm always indebted to the board, and particularly for Suplin Naik. Any academic related activity I phone up, and he had, he had cooperated. And with these things, I'm very happy now. Professor Nagesh Kumar, who would be now the leading the fourth phase of ISID. With these things, I take leave, Chairman Sir and Professor Naik, Nagesh ji, and my brother also, who was instrumental. I must tell you at the outset, sir, in 78, after completing my MA, I came here. He took me to Raja Challaya. He was the founder director of National Public Finance and Finance. And he came to Hindu College for giving a special lecture on fiscal finances or something. He took me, look, sir, he's my brother, and he just completed. And he took me in his project. He asked me to come to his office in Prabhat Kiran in Rajendra Place. And I went there, and he put me in a research project, tax efforts in Indian states, with Narayan Sinha is the project leader. I started my career with him, and he's a man who was instrumental in bringing me to Delhi and helping me. And I'm grateful to my brother and my sister-in-law. And with these things, I think I always stood to this one. And of course, my mentors are Professor Chalpati Rao and Sri S.P. Sastry, who is the man behind building this campus, designing structural and other designs. And former Deputy Director General of
honest to the core, and the kind of things that I learned from them. These two are my mentors. My brother is a godfather for me. And with these things, I take leave from you, Chairman Sir, and good night, and other distinguished board members.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir,
for your detailed descriptions. So now I request MN Murty sir to say a few words. MN Murty sir.
future research in international economics and international policy. And actually,
maybe at his end.
when he actually he started in a modest way of working in Delhi, as he was telling that he was started working with NIPFP, the Professor Raja here and pursuing the work, in terms of the research as a researcher, the research associate and other types of assignments. And then slowly progressing, and IAPA, in fact, when he's come in contact with IAPA, started working with Professor Goyal and other colleagues there. And I think he got a lot of insights and also motivation to progress further in his career in a particular way. But ultimately, that is, I'm very proud to see that. And he has been instrumental and responsible for bringing that world-class institute for research in industrial economics and industrial policy in India. And it is an institute with world-class infrastructure and future research, providing opportunities for younger researchers and younger faculty. Many younger faculty, in fact, has brought here. And then we hope that, is going to contribute very in a productive manner for the industrial policy research in India. At the same time, now we have this Dr. Nagesh Kumar. He's a well-known researcher and an academic in industrial economics. I know that. He did his PhD from Delhi School of Economics when I was there at Institute of Economic Growth, and also was teaching at Hindu College. I think, Professor Kulinaik was one of his researchers, advisors. I think, he did his PhD from there, and he has very good contributions in very established and known journals in industrial economics, and has a lot of experience in international institute, working with international institutes and some Indian institutes to start with. So I'm sure that under his guidance, the institute will further progress in a good way, as expected from my brother. So that I'm sure that is in safe hands. I think the institute is going to see in future and more research and more policy-oriented research, and then giving encouragement to many younger research scholars for working in this area. So with this, I thank all of you, and in fact, I heard all of you speaking about the institute, and my brother narrating the history of the institute is developed. In fact, I don't have the full knowledge of that, but I'm very happy to see that is how it has developed stage by stage, and the amount of effort he along with his colleagues and made to develop this institute to this stage. So then we have world-class institute, world-class facilities, infrastructure and all for future researchers, for young scholars to do research in industrial economics and industrial policy. And thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to talk here in this And also I wish my brother, in fact, he's blessed with a grandson recently. And then I wish my brother, be peaceful, productive, and happy retired life. And also taking interest in the research, in fact, for which in fact he has been working all these years. Thank you very much for this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. So now I request Professor Nagesh Kumar to please take over and greet Professor Murty and share your thought.
Thank you, Shailendra, Mr. Chairman, and members of the board and research advisory committee and the faculty colleagues. It's a pleasure to speak on this occasion when Professor Murty, after a very distinguished career in building this institute and bringing it up to this stature that we see in front of us, is laying down office. And, I agree with many of the predecessors who spoke that academics never retired. And so I think it is not a farewell, but it is a start of a new chapter of his life. And I'm sure that chapter will bring still the best of him, because so far, as he himself described, the building the campus and bringing the institute to this level has taken too much of his attention and effort. And I'm sure now that he is, sort of not bothered by the those responsibilities of nitty-gritty type and that require attention, will allow him more space and time for pursuing the academic, interests. And so I think he has a much more productive and active phase of life starting now. I think a lot has been said about his qualities, and I was, picking some of the keywords, and people described him how unassuming as a person he is, how self-effacing a person he has been, and how committed and sort of dedicated he has been all these years to building up of this institute. And I think working with Professor Goel and implement the dream and the vision that he had, working hand in hand with him all the time, and really making sure that no stone is unturned to get the institute to the level it has reached. I think it is a very remarkable achievement that he has made. And I have, of course, have known him since 1981 when I joined the corporate studies group of IIPA at that time, in March 1981. He was already there. I mean, Kamal Chinoy and myself were recruited as the first lecturers of that corporate studies group. And so with Professor Rao and Professor Ranganathan and, Murty was already there. And he was actually, I remember, as someone whom I would go to as a newcomer to get any problem solved. So I'm not surprised that all of the younger colleagues have mentioned the quality he has of solving problems of everybody, making everybody's life more comfortable, and so that they can pursue their academic interests. So I think Murty has been doing this right from the beginning. This is a remarkable quality he has. So you feel free to just go to him and bring your problems, and he will find a solution. So he has been that, sort of a friend and, colleague and guide, kind of friend, philosopher and guide to many, and including myself, who benefited from his support in the beginning of my career. And it is a rare privilege and pleasure for me to step into his shoes after 40 years of knowing him, and I can really feel that what he has achieved is very remarkable, and it is our duty and responsibility to take the vision of this institute forward, which has been repeatedly mentioned by Mr. Chairman, the Member Secretary of ICSR, all other members of the board, that we want to see, now that we have a world-class infrastructure, we want to see a real center of excellence on industrial policy and industrial development, which is able to help foster the industrial transformation of the country. So this is the vision that we should be driven by, and I would do my best to work with the faculty members and under the guidance of the board and ICSR support. I'm sure that we will achieve that vision in the next coming years. So with that, on that note, I want to really wish a very long and very productive, healthy life, and as he enters a new chapter of his life, to Professor Murty. And I am totally, hopeful that he would continue to be around to help us and support. And whenever I need any help from him, he would be there. I am very sure of that. So all the very best, Professor Murty.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. So now I request Santosh Das, our faculty coordinator, because he was coordinating with faculties and staff, for arranging gift for Professor Murty. But due to lockdown, could not do that and wanted to share his thought. So I request Santosh Das to please share his thought and update about the gift that he wanted to give to Professor Murty. Santosh, are you there? Santosh, are you there? Santosh, you can you unmute yourself? Santosh, can you hear me?
Respected. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Santosh, please go ahead. Santosh, unmute yourself, please. Santosh, unmute yourself.
On many occasions, as I used to sort of coordinate most of the faculty meetings and also talks, seminars and all. So I used to interact with him closely. So one of the sort of key feature that what I have observed with him is that, so even in case of disagreement on issues like, he used to give that space. Being a junior faculty, I am just assistant professor of the institute, but I got that space from him to sort of convey my disagreement if there is any. So for that, I really thankful to him, and that is something, one of the great qualities that I have learned from Murty sir. And about the gift thing that given the sort of COVID situation, we couldn't organize one. So when the situation improves, we can have a sort of maybe a special get together among faculties and staff. Then we'll organize at a later stage when the situation permits. So we'll have a gift, sort of handing over ceremony at later stage. Thank you.
Thank you, Santosh. So now it's my moral responsibility to say thanks to many people, those who are, the associated, or you can say, helping me to, the organizing this felicitation function. So first of all, I would, thank Professor Nagesh Kumar that he thought that he can give me this responsibility. So I must thank him for this, the belief that he has, the said that you have to do that. So I also thank Santosh, that who is the faculty coordinator and coordinated with faculty with the taking contributions and arranging gift for Professor Murty, and also Bhupesh ji, Bharat ji, and Sudhir ji from staff side, who were helping him to to acquire the gift and other the contributions. And from technical side, Dhananjay and Bhupesh, they helped me a lot, from day one. And but the today at 2:30, we had some the major problems and this connectivity problem. So our our net is not working properly today in third floor, but somehow they were able to manage from their phone. So we are conducting this the function through the phone rather than the institutional network. So I am thankful to Dhananjay and Bhupesh ji and Rakesh ji for this. And Yadav ji, from day one he was associated with the in arranging mementos and the bouquets and other things. Sandeep, Jeet ji, and other the Sudhir ji, they also helped me a lot in this. So with these words, I wish him, Professor, the Professor Murty, a healthy and happy life, and I hope he will be, the here for, the helping us, the in different capacities. I hope, and I also, the take this opportunity to, the welcome Professor Nagesh Kumar to, the take over this institute as a director. And we are, sir, very exciting to work with you. And I hope we will help you to, the take this institute forward to a new height. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Chairman, sir, for, for listening us and taking out, the time. It's almost and it's a more than 2.5 hours that we have been there. So with these words, I think I must say thank to all of you. So if there is no other thing, then should we close, sir? Chairman, sir, and Nagesh, sir, should we close it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So can we give a this big clap to the Professor Murty ji for this? Thank you, sir, for your all conversation. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you all.